is going to guide you, Dr. Amakobe comes in for registration. So we give it to him.
Organization that Miss Colette is not Virtuous woman. Yes, she's Miss Colette, but she works through Virtuous women for this particular kind of work she does.
Yep.
She does something else. She does her own nursing, but through another organization. You can't mix this together.
Sure.
You can't mix this together because, like we said, you need to know your mission and you need to know your vision. Where do you want to be in 5 and 10 years? Mm-hmm. What do you want to do? What is it that will make people pay you? Mm-hmm. I normally say, like, if you cannot put it, write an invoice, like an invoice, not a long sentence, because most of the time, like, they are going to deliver an invoice for this food, they're just going to say rice and goat. If you cannot write rice and goat, and just explaining a lot of things, rice mixed with beans and stuff like that, I won't pay. You understand? So, even you as a business person, if you do not have a small sentence which you can put on an invoice, so that somebody can pay you, then basically you don't know what you're going to do for the people, right? Mm-hmm. And like she said, you haven't defined who your customer is. Because, like, if you are doing something, like Ms. Ross says, her organization deals with women with intimate partner violence. That means if there is not intimate partner violence, she's out. If it's the neighbor beating her, that's not. Okay, but if it is her husband working on her, that's the problem. That's her problem, her other children. You understand? That's defined like that. Okay, so you have to define that. Then, after you make those definitions, then you can decide how many organizations you need to have. Yeah. You understand? Because you cannot, like me, I have Wilmington vaccines, which vaccinate people. So if you call me and it's Wilmington vaccines, I know it's working vaccines. I have African Wood Incorporated, who just does consultancy. And Rosalind does Noble Women, she just does that. If it's a is a client who's got issues with her husband, with her thing, then that's the Noble Women thing. What we're saying, define it. Define what you intend to do. Yeah. So, and then when you come to me and say, I need an organization, then we start working with you and say, okay, is it a for-profit or non-profit? And where do you want it incorporated? Where you have to make, that is a decision you have to make, whether you want to make it incorporated in where you live or where it's convenient, where other businesses are incorporated. And business cannot be one person. It never will be one person. You at least must have a director, must have a treasurer, you must have a director. Because you know what, most people, because the fact that we are all mortal, organizations don't like to deal with one person because we all drop dead. So they want somebody, one or two people in the organization so that it can have continuity. So when you say you pick up the phone and you call Miss Colette and say you want an organization registered, and you come to me, I keep asking, who is your secretary? Who is your treasurer? Who is your director? Yeah. And you don't have that, those people, that means you haven't thought through.
Yeah, you're not ready. Yeah.
And then there's this idea, the problem is, I think we haven't gotten to a level where we hire consultants. Because when you hire a consultant, they are not coming to run your business for you. Yeah. It's like when you take a child to school, you don't expect the teacher to do the homework for them. Yeah, right. They'll teach them, but the kids have to come with a book, have to write notes, and have to take the exam. The teacher will never take the exam for them. But sometimes when we are in business and we hire a consultant, say we hire a coach, most of the people think the coach needs to come and run the business for them. Yeah. And then it comes that, okay, I told you how to do it, And then you say, I don't see what you did. You don't see what you did because you didn't do what you were told to do.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that is when the coach, your coach is talking to you, they are sitting side alongside you, but they expect you to do the work. If you now have one, say you want to put a structure in place, you want to put a structure in place, you must be able to know those basic things.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of organization do you want? You want a for-profit or non-profit? Do you want a partnership or you want a corporation? Most of the time, I will lead you towards a corporation if it's for profit.
Yeah.
Because if it's a for profit, I lead you towards a corporation. But the place where to register, you have to decide.
Yes.
But we will give you choices like Delaware. 50% of all the large companies in the world are registered in Delaware for some reason. But the reason is that it's very easy to register in Delaware, and the laws in Delaware are tuned to taking care of companies. You understand? That's why Delaware is there. But the other states, you may want to incorporate your company or your organization where you live for ease of management. You understand? So, if say you live in Maryland and you want to be able to be the one who is representing your organization, then you do it in Maryland. But if you want ease of registration, you do it in Delaware. If you are going to get a license in PA, you may want to register it in PA. You understand? For those kind of reasons. So basically, I think my advice would be for you seek out help, but you don't go to a doctor and say, I am sick. You just don't go to the doctor's office and say, I'm sick, treat me.
Yeah.
Most of the time you need to explain to the doctor how you are feeling,
Yeah.
when you started feeling that way, and what you have been taking, and what could be, so that you give a pointer.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So I think so. Even so, in business, when you're seeking out help from other professionals, you need to give them that. You need to give them that information.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. So
Hi, this is Dr. Amakobe. I've just finished the meeting with World Trade Center, and this is at the University Club. So I think this is the exit trail. So we go out, and it was nice. Only had to make sure that we emphasize the trust in business is built by the perceptions people make. So, if the general perception is that doing business in Africa is risky, then there will be no trust in doing business in Africa. So we made that point very clear, that if the US has to do business in Africa, the decision makers have to stop spreading the rumor or the perception that it's expensive or risky somehow to do business in Africa. Because that perception determines the premiums that exporters have to pay for the insurance. It determines the prices African buyers have to pay for things, because they are loaded with an assumption that they might not be paid. That makes the items or merchandise or services from the US too expensive and non-competitive with the rest of the world, just by the sheer assumption that it's either risky or unreliable. Africa is a risky and reliable business partner. So I like the fact that the U.S. government is promoting what we are calling friendshoring, meaning putting our operations and our supply chain in countries that are friendly to the U.S. or believe in the same things the U.S. believes in. And Africa is one of those places. And as I said before, Africa is over 50 countries. Each one is different. It's a different risk profile. So it cannot be lumped just in one basket that Africa is. If you are dealing with Morocco, it's different. If you are dealing with Botswana, it's different. If you are dealing with Kenya, it's different. If you are dealing with South Africa, it's different. So just like when you're dealing with in Europe, you can be dealing with in Ukraine or dealing with the UK. It's not put together, it's not lumped together. So you cannot lump African countries all together and say they are risky or they are good. So that point was clearly made, and it's something that we need to drive continuously, because it determines the valuations of our assets and our competencies, both in African countries and in those professionals who leave the country to come and work overseas or live overseas. So that was a good discussion there, and you said